Imagine this. You're 17, far from home. Your parents aren't here. Your pastor isn't watching. Your friends will never know. And suddenly, temptation
You cannot
knocks.
escape what is
Not
to
once,
come.
not twice, but every single day. It looks attractive. It feels powerful.
You cannot
It
escape
promises
what is to
pleasure,
come.
and it whispers, no one will ever find out. What would you do? This is not just Joseph's story. This is the story of every teen today, the moment when no one is watching, and the decision you make could change your life forever. Joseph faced it, the pressure, the whispers, the trap that looked too good to resist, but he chose differently.
Let me go!
And that choice, to walk away when it cost him everything, was the choice that made him great. This is not just a Bible story, it is your story. And today, we'll discover how Joseph teaches us the secret to overcoming temptation as a teen. Joseph's life didn't begin in a palace. It began in betrayal. His brothers, fueled by jealousy, threw him into a pit and sold him as a slave. 17 years old, stripped of his freedom, stripped of his family, stripped of his dreams, but not stripped of God's presence. Genesis 39 verse 2 says, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man." In Potiphar's house, Joseph served faithfully. He swept floors, he carried water, he managed tasks, and he did it all with excellence. Soon, Potiphar noticed something different about this young Hebrew boy. Everything Joseph touched seemed to prosper, so Potiphar promoted him from servant to steward, from nobody to manager of the entire estate. Teens, here's your first lesson. Faithfulness in small things leads to trust in bigger things. Joseph didn't wait for a perfect stage to shine. He shined where he was planted. What about you? How do you handle homework you dislike? How do you respond when asked to do chores at home? Do you complain or do you give your best? Because God uses today's responsibilities to prepare you for tomorrow's opportunities. But then came the test. Joseph wasn't just hardworking, he was also young, strong, and handsome. And soon someone noticed. Potiphar's wife. She watched him. She desired him. She wanted him. And one day she made her move. Genesis 39:7 says, "And after a time his master's wife cast her eyes on Joseph and said, 'Lie with me.'" Imagine the weight of that moment. Joseph, far away from home, no parents watching, no one from church, no accountability. The easy path whispered, "Why not? No one will know. You deserve this pleasure. Just once won't hurt." And it didn't happen once. It happened day after day. Teens, temptation doesn't usually come once and walk away. It comes daily. It knocks again and again. For Joseph, it was sexual temptation. For you, it might be the urge to cheat on a test, pressure from friends to drink or smoke, that website or video you know you shouldn't click, the desire to fit in, even if it means lowering your standards. Temptation always promises pleasure, but it hides the pain that follows. Joseph's response was powerful. He didn't say,
Let me
"What
go!"
if Potiphar finds out?" He didn't say, "What if I get caught?" Instead, he said in Genesis 39:9, "How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" Joseph understood something that many forget. Even when no one else sees, God sees. He valued God's presence more than temporary pleasure. Teens, that's the secret. When you fear God more than losing popularity, more than losing opportunities, more than losing friends, then you'll have the strength to resist. One day, when no servants were inside, Potiphar's wife set her final trap. She grabbed Joseph by his cloak and demanded, "Lie with me." This was no longer an invitation, it was a command. Joseph had a choice. Stay and fight or run? He didn't argue. He didn't test his willpower. He didn't see how close he could get without falling. He ran. Genesis 39:12 says, "He left his garment in her hand and fled out of the house." Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is run. Teens, don't fight temptation in the room. Escape it. If an app leads you astray, delete it. If a friendship pulls you down, distance yourself. If being alone tempts you, change the environment. Joseph lost his cloak that day, but he kept his character. Humiliated Potiphar's wife twisted the story. She accused Joseph of trying to harm her, and though Joseph was innocent, he was thrown into prison. Now pause. Shouldn't Joseph have been rewarded for resisting temptation? Why was he punished? Here's the truth. Doing the right thing doesn't always bring instant reward. Sometimes you'll lose friends, sometimes you'll face mockery, sometimes you'll feel lonely. But God sees, God remembers, God rewards in His time. Joseph went from pit to Potiphar's house to prison, but eventually to the palace, because integrity always outlasts false accusations, and character always wins in the end. So what can you learn as a teen today? 1. Expect temptation. It's not a matter of if, but when. Be prepared. 2. Decide in advance. Joseph didn't wait until the moment to choose. He had already chosen to honor God. Teens, set your boundaries now. 3. Fear God more than people. Your friends may not see, your parents may not see, but God always sees. 4. Run from temptation. Don't negotiate, don't linger, escape it. 5. Trust God with the results. You may lose something in the moment, but you will gain God's blessing for a lifetime. Joseph's story is not just ancient history. It's a mirror for your life today. Temptation will come, but you don't have to fall. Remember this, you may lose your cloak, but don't lose your character. You may lose popularity, but don't lose your purity. You may lose opportunities, but don't lose your obedience. God honored Joseph, and the same God will honor you. So teens, the next time temptation comes knocking, remember Joseph and run.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps us keep sharing content that blesses lives. Thanks for watching.